show. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're a little bit under time here. We're a little over time. We changed our time to start at 1:30 in case you're wondering. And we have lots of fun things to do today. So the first thing, let me do a little bit of cleanup here while I'm still waiting for people to trickle in. But if you have been doing this all in a single repo, that's fine. Please continue to do so. I, however, am going to move that repo that I've been doing into the SKILSTAK content. The reason for that is so that I can cite little snippets in the writing that I'm doing as I'm writing it up on skillstack.io, and you can go there and click on it, and then I can actually point to sections of that code individually. So I'm just going to take a little moment to do that. As you know, I don't make any time for editing these videos. I just do it all live. That's why it's free. So hang tight while we do this. So pretty much all I'm going to be doing here is I just want to see what is in my repos directory. RDX Rub, learn Go, as I said. So we have this Go, we have this Go directory here that I had all this stuff in, and stuff. And thank God for GitHub, right? Did you put your backups in GitHub and you were able to get it? Oh, don't you love that? I know. That's me all the time. So I'm going to move the command file over here. We can kind of use this as a review. Let's do that. So let's do all right. So copy. I'm gonna just do moves, so I know whether it moved or not. So we're gonna move the command directory over here. So that's one we need. It's kind of a good review. So what needs to be here, right? Which of all these files do I need? Okay, we need internal, right? We talked about that. Learn.go, that needs to come over. Learn.go, that needs to come over into here. What else? What else we got? So the license I don't need. The get ignore. Do need that. Why? Why do we need that? Because remember the go work and all that stuff? Yeah, we need those. We talked about go work a little bit. It turned out to be unnecessary last time, but still worth looking at. Because I mean, we talked about it last week quite a bit. I'm not going to. I'm fighting the urge to. Obviously, we don't want to bring the README over here unless we really want to use it, but we probably do. But more importantly, go.mod. Go.mod does need to move over here, and some of you are going to be asking, well, Mr. Rob, don't I have to have a single GitHub repo for my Go module? And the answer is you can have multiple modules in a single Git repo. Sometimes people will use a mono repo to do development, and they'll have multiple individual modules. By the way, don't confuse module with package, right? A package is just something in a directory that's been named with the package name that all is the same. You can have multiple packages in a single module. You can have multiple modules in a single repo, but they have to be imported that way. And this will actually make using Go work kind of important. So it can be done. Now, in my particular case, the package names are going to be a little weird because now it's not this anymore, right? Now it's going to be RWX SKILSTAK / learn Go is going to be the repo location. And if you look here, that's where we are. We're actually in docs boost learn Go right now. Can we have a package that is where it's at? Well, I don't know. We're going to figure that out. I don't know. We're going to play with that. And if we get burned by it, so be it. We do. I'm like struggling here because I feel like I don't want to confuse you by having everything in the same space, We could put it under an SRC directory, but then that would confuse you, right? Because normally the SRC directory is at the top level. So yeah, trying to decide what to do there. Um, hmm um, if we make a learn go directory, well, another reason I want to do this is we can actually make modules for each of our projects, and we can go through the process of making a new module every time, which I really want to do because I want you to get good with making modules. And then like reusing stuff between the different modules. So let's actually do that. Let's make the individual directories, the projects that go with Learn Go. So we actually have a projects directory over here, which is a separate one, but so I think this should be fine. I think this should be fine. So let's do that. Let's make we were doing hi and hello, right? So actually, you know what? Let's review those projects completely entirely, and we'll do that again for weeks 1 and 2, and we should be good to go. Get it? Okay. So the last thing I need to do though before I forget is the README. We need to look at that README file. Where's my MV? Okay, so where's my MV? I did that again. Okay. Let's just do this. Let's cat the README file to the end of this README file, and we'll go clean it up. And so learn Go. This is the main README here. Learn to code and Go, prerequisites, possible editors, Golang, installing Go. I'll come back and clean this up later. I don't want to do it right now. These dates are going to change, obviously. This is going to go... Basically, what we're doing is we're going to make this into the same week 1, week 2, week 3 kind of thing, like we did with the Beginner Boost, if you've been watching that. So I want that to feel familiar to you. And I did not do this before because I felt like we had to have our own repo. And I still believe we should show you how to make that repo and get started. But as far as the content from now on, you can just assume that that's, in that spot. Okay. So let's regroup here. So in our learn, we turned it into a package, and then we used internal, right, to reuse our save program. This another reason for doing this is we're going to be able to do a lot of really amazing things with Go Work because we're going to have all these projects in the same directory. And so we're going to get a real solid usage of Go Work. So we went ahead and made these functions and put them here. But let's regroup a little bit. Okay, so let's regroup a little bit. In fact, let's make a directory called old. And as I said, I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. I want to put all the old stuff in, and we're going to redo the last 2 weeks in like 10 minutes. Okay. As a review. And so this is going to be a good, way to go about doing this. And actually, let's do this. Let's say, so week 1, actually, copy week 3 to week 1.md, week 1.md, week 1. So what did we do in week 1? And by the way, my format for this is to put everything in the form of a question so that it searches faster and you can use it for quizzing yourself. How do I install and set up a Go development environment? That's the main thing we did, right? We did all of that. And then how can I code hello world in Go? All right, so let's do that. So how do we do it? First thing, in this particular case, let's make a directory for our module. So let's say make directory hello, cd and hello. And yeah, I mean, we're really buried down here now, but okay, so how do you initialize? You guys remember this? We did this already. Okay, so how do I initialize a Go module? I'm going to put these things there. I didn't have these in here before, so that's why I'm adding them. What is the what are the differences between modules, modules, packages, and repos? So you should know that. Okay. How does a Go application differ from a package? All right. Do you remember that? How do they differ? This is all published. Yeah, it's been published all along. That's the only reason I do it. It's up on SKILSTAK, and it's also there's a YouTube video every week. So, and I'm streaming live on YouTube, right? And they get saved on YouTube, and there's a playlist there. I forget to edit it and update it, but all right. So how do we what do we do here? What do we do here? We need to make a new Go project. So Go. I'm repeating what I did in week 1 and week 2, but you should know this. Go mod init, right? And then you need to type the name of the package. Now this is where it's going to get interesting, because as you can see, we're in this really deep down, GitHub repo, and I know that you can pretty much put whatever you want in the package name, but if you want to be able to import it for the sake of the boost, we're not going to be picking really solid package names. We're going to be picking kind of pretend package names, but I still want them to kind of emulate what you would be using, right? So this is a little weird, to be truthful, because I'm putting multiple modules in the same repo for the sake of documentation and everything. Whereas you would probably be doing, like one GitHub repo for each project, or you could have one monolithic one, or you could do it the same way as me. You can have a single Learn Go repo, and inside of there, you can make multiple modules. And maybe that's the way to go about doing it. So all of those are different ways of doing it. Okay. The problem here is, and this is what we're going to run into, is that I'm pretty sure that we are going to be making a different application we're going to make one application. I don't know whether we should use a mono repo and have it all be in there, or we should have multiple commands be those different programs. I feel like that's probably the best way to go about doing it. So we have separate commands that use the same package. Hey, how are you? So, or we could have one module for each one of the commands. Which one should we do? What would you like to do? What do you think is better? My feeling is that we should probably make single executables all under the CMD directory, but that we should use the same package, like a central package for everybody. But I'm wondering if anybody feels like there's benefit to having multiple modules, even though they're single individual programs. I'm a little afraid that people are going to think it's a good idea to make an entire module just for Hello program, or for the Bridgekeeper or something like that, as opposed to combining those libraries. And I, at this point, I think I'm right on the fence. But the reason that I'm super interested in making each one of these a separate module from the get-go, is you don't know which one is better, yeah, is because I want people to get into the habit of making a new application every time. And normally, like, I hit you pretty early on with package management and internal and all of that jazz. Normally that stuff is not covered until, like, far on down the road. And you just want to write, hello world. You don't want to worry about all that yet. So how you doing? So let's go ahead and let's do, the reason I want to do hello, hi, bin, Bridgekeeper, and all of them as independent projects, is because I want you to get good with GoMod. That way we can use GoMod for each one, right? And then if you decide that you want to combine all those things into a single thing later, we can talk about that later. We obviously jumped into that deep end kind of early in this boost. This is the first Go boost I've done. So we're going to revisit this a little bit. We do this every year. And I think I'm going to stick with this as a project. Okay, so how do you start a Go project? And we're going to be saying that a lot because we need to practice. So go mod init, go mod init, and then we're going to get the name of the package, right? Now, I'm going to pretend like this is a separate Git repo, right? So I'm going to say rdbx rob slash, and now I could lie here and do learn go hello, right? But for my case, I'm going to go ahead and put the full name so it knows where to find it. Docs boost. I mean, normally you would not have something this long, right? Yours would be whatever your mono repo is. And this way, if you're a beginner, you can either make a new private repo for each one, or you can make one repo to rule them all, and then just have this convoluted kind of thing inside of it. So github.com, rdbx rob, SKILSTAK, docs boost, learn go /hello. All right. So that just made my go.mod file. And now here we go. We got our go mod. We're using Go 121, as you should be. I know, don't do new repos. Look, make a single repo, but we're going to do multiple modules in a single repo. The only problem with that is if you do just this part of the boost and you don't get to the part of the, to the learn go, and you don't get to the part of learn go that talks about why this is a bad idea to put multiple modules in a single repo. And we maybe want to combine that and get rid of all those multiple modules and stuff. And we will do that. We're going to reorganize it and make it better and put those all as single commands that are reusing the same thing, right? If you don't get to that part, then your knowledge is going to kind of taint you, because this is not how people would normally do this. So make a single repo, and inside of that repo, make a hello subdirectory, and inside of the hello subdirectory, do your go mod init. Okay, and that this will take us forward. Now I'm doing the same thing. I'm just like really far down inside here. I'm like way far down inside here. Yeah, and I'm tempted actually to put it like even higher. The reason for doing this is because I can actually link to the files now from my documentation directly, which some might say is not a good thing to do. But all right, so now we have a go mod file, right? Hey, how are you? And so here we are. We're writing some go mod. So we made our new Hello World program. We created a repo. And we created a subdirectory inside the repo called hello. Mine is longer, but yours is just going to be hello. And inside of hello, we did go mod init, and then we did the name of the package, right? And that gave us the go.mod file that has this in it, which matches the exact path in your GitHub repo. Yours will probably not have that stuff in it. It'll just have hello in it, but just it doesn't matter, right? Okay, so now let's make our first Hello World program. Right, so we're gonna make a file. We're gonna call our file main.go because it is an actual program. And inside of main.go, hey, look, it automatically made it for me. We're gonna import fmt, and then we're gonna type hello world. Actually, no, let's do hello friend. Hello friend. That's my favorite. All right, and. Cost participant, yes. Yeah, thank you for Head Tennis is one of my favorite streamers. I just rated him. So here we go. We have a program. Go run main.go. Hello, friend. Yay, you're a Go programmer. Okay, so that was like, all the stuff to set that up we did on the first week, including like setting up Vim. You can look at my .files in Vim or see if you want to do this. We also talked about using, if you want to use Goland, which is an editor of VS Code, same thing. You do have to go to the command line to run it usually. So you can do go run main.go, but if you want to install it, you can do go. I can also do go build. If you want it to build out using the name of the directory, you can just do go build, and then we'll get a hello file here. We can run that, same thing. Okay, we can remove that hello file. That always picks the name of the directory unless you overwrite it, which you can do with a -o. It's like hello or something, I don't know. And now I have a /hello, and it works, right? That's very much like C if you know C. But if I want to install it, I can do go install, and now it will actually be in my path, so I can type hello, and I don't even know where it is, right? It just put it into my path, which I've set up to be .local bin hello, which we talked about in our setup. That is actually in my Go. Actually, if you do Go env, it'll show you all your Go environment, and you can see all the stuff that's been set. This can all be set in your bashrc file, which you should know how to do already. But if you set your Go bin, that's where all the compiled binaries will be installed. I put my Go cache here, and I put some stuff in the configuration files. Not all of these are set explicitly, but again, look at my dot files. Some of them you want to watch out for is like proxy. You want to make sure to no proxy. Like if you want it to not, normally when you build something, it'll go out to the proxy server and see if it's there. Also private. If stuff is in private, that means that allows you to build from private repos if those are the thing. So that is the repeat of what we've talked about already. There's no reason to write a build script or a make file or anything like that until things get more complicated later. We'll talk about that eventually. All right, so that's the entire hello program, right? So the hi program, let's make another program. Okay, let's do this entire thing again. I told you we were going to do this like each week, right? So that was week 1. So week 1 was hello and stuff. All right, so let's see, how can I code a hello world on the Go? How about this? What is the difference between printf, println, and fmt println? Do you guys know the difference? They both work. Please unban you. Are you banned? I didn't ban you, did I? Export you. Who's banned? I don't even know. Anyway, so how do you do that? Okay, so now unban requests. They are the same. They are actually not the same. So let's do this. CD into hello. Again, this is a repeat of first week, but you can do println. So hello friend. Let's actually run it. Go run main.go. All right, it looked like they're the same, right? But they're really not. So if I redirect to dev null, you'll see that only the second one remains. It's like, well, which one is it, right? Hello, friend 1. Hello, friend 2. So the main takeaway of that is that you can actually also do log println hello friend 3, and you'll see that 2 and 3. So log automatically prints to standard error. Println, which is not supported, it's just there. It's a remnant. We'll also do that. But normally you want to do println. Okay. So let's put that in our notes for week 1. Let's put another one here. Log.println. I mean, you're going to need to know that because you're going to be using it for all sorts of things. So now you know the difference. All right. Print to std error. Yep. All right. Yeah. If you want to print to std error, you can. Make sure you know the difference between those. All right. So, and now we talked about variables, and we did that in another program called Hi. And we did so let's make a new program. I'm doing week 2 now. Actually, did we do that in week 2 or week 1? I can't remember. I'm kind of regrouping. So make directory. Actually, let me move. This is kind of bothering me. Alt. All right. So git ignore dot alt. All right. I don't want to say that. All right. So Let's make another one. Let's make a new project. Make directory hi. Wait, 1 and 2 are in YouTube. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I'm just regrouping because I'm reorganizing. So let's go under hi. So for hi, the mini project that we're doing, and the reason for doing mini projects is explained in the first week. The hi program is designed to take input from people, right, and to demonstrate the use of arguments, environment variables, and stuff like that. So, and I don't remember whether we covered that in week 1 or 2, but that's we're going to assume it's still week 1. So here we go. We are in. We are in. We are in hi. We need to go back into hi. All right. So we're in the hi directory, and here we go. We have nothing. Nothing's in here. How do we make a new project? Pause the video. You should know this. Go mod init, and then the path to the location. RWX Rob, SKILSTAK / docs boost. Yours is probably not going to be obviously as crazy as mine. And you need to go mod even though it's just a program. You need that in there. And now we have a new go.mod file, as you know. Did I do it right? Docs boost hi. Wait, did I do it right? SKILSTAK docs boost learn go hi. I might have to change all these at some point if I move the year that we do it. Why is it? Yeah. Anyway, I'll do that. I'll do that later. I don't think the learn go stuff's going to go under the boost. I think it's going to be its own thing. So it might move around, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so how do we make a new program? VI main.go or touch if you want first. Let's start with the one that we already know. Hello, friend, or hi, friend. Hi, friend. And we can run that, right? We can do GUI or go install. That's what it is. This is my GUI. This is it right here. It just checks to see if the file's there and it doesn't go install. And then what? So we can run hi. Hi, friend. Okay, but we want this to actually do something fancier, right? And so we talked about the introduction of variables and all the different ways to do variables, as well as to do functions, but I'm going to simplify this a little bit more. We want friend to be a variable. So we're going to say name equals friend. All right. So that's the default. You should know about the walrus operator and how that differs from no walrus operator, but we're going to put that there. And then what are we going to put here? We're going to put hi, and we're going to just use the concatenator operator for right now. You don't know printf yet. We'll learn it, I promise. And we'll put a dot there, and let's put some pluses in it to joins. They're called join operators, and we'll put the name. All right. So, and now we can install that and run hi, and we say hi, friend. Right. Same behavior, but now we want to grab that thing from somewhere else. You can use 1.21.1. That's fine. And so what if the name is there? So the first way to get the name is to see if there's an argument, right? So if the length of the os.args is greater than 1, it's always 1, by the way. That's the name of the program is always, I might have that wrong. Greater than 0. Then you have to do this, otherwise, actually, let's not do that. I'm going to break it. I want to see what happens. So if you want to, you can like comment this out and just like go for it, right? os.args, args is a list, which you haven't done a list yet. We're going to talk about those later, but this means the first item in the list. It's called a slice. And we'll talk about those at length later, but I wanted to just jump in really quickly. So hi there. Uh-oh, it says hi. What the hell is that? I said, why did it do hi? What is hi? Yeah, you see what I'm doing here? So the first argument to os.args is always the name of the program. So you actually want the second argument. Now, let's try that. Hi, we didn't recompile. Hi there. Okay. Now, what happens if I don't do it though? Bam! Panic. That's a very clean panic. Usually they feel like multiple pages when you panic. So we don't want to panic, right? No, panicking is not fun. So we need to change it. We need to say if the length of os.args is greater than 1. It's always 1, right? So because I told you because of the command there, if it's greater than 1, then let's set the name to it. And let's make the name have a default value. So if we have an argument, use it. Otherwise, don't. And now you've seen how to use if statements. Now, I've already said, I'm assuming that you have some introduction to algorithmic logic and stuff like that in coding. If you're not, this is how you do it. It's like an if statement, right? Normally, we introduce if on its own, but it's not that hard. So now you can compile that and do hi there. And if you do hi, it'll do their hi friend by default. So there we go. We got our very basic program. And another thing too you could do is you could grab from the environment variables, right? So you could make it so that if there's an environment variable, you could say if, oh gosh, let's see, if get, let's do this. Let's say if, I don't know if I want to do that yet. Should we show you environment variables? We did that in Bash, so we might as well do it here. So os.get envr, get env, I think it is. By the way, if you want to read the documentation for anything, if you don't know this about VI, you should know it. When you hover over a thing and you just do capital K, and it will pull up the documentation for you. And then you can push enter and it'll stop. So os.get_env string, and so that shows you. If you want to see the source code, really cool here, you can do gd, and that will actually open the source code in Go of that line, and it tells you the exact code that is used to run that. Pretty cool, huh? And you can close that out and then go back. So actually, let's put that in the week 3 notes, shall we? In week 3, I want to make sure we get that in there so you guys can quiz yourself. Damn it. Where am I? I don't know. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. I think we're supposed to do 0.3. So how can I use Vim to look up documentation while editing code, while coding. While coding, we did testing last week. That's what we did. Yeah. How can I look up the source code of a thing while coding in Vim? How can I look up documentation while coding in Vim? Okay, so there's 2 things you can do. And name declared but not used. Yeah, if you got a name declared but not used, that's because you need to use it. Surprise, surprise. You got to make sure you have your print statement down here. So if for some reason your name is not there yet. Different names, and use that to alter the behavior of the program name. The links program. Yeah, that's another one. If you want to use, that's more advanced. So if we're gonna make a temporary variable. I'm like blowing people away here. Length of n is greater than 0. Make sure I got this right. Yep. Then name equals in. Going way too fast. Yeah, well, you can stop the video and stuff. Not enough arguments to call to get. Oh, let's give it an environment variable. Let's make. Let's call it. Let's say, name. Actually, no. Let's say user. How about that? User. Which I think is defined by default, right? So let's go to that. Let's do. Hi, Artifacts Rob. Now, why did it do that? Because my shell has a user environment variable, as all shell scripts do. And so it can look it up. So we looked up, okay, so this is grabbing out the user environment variable. And this is checking to see if there's an argument. Whichever one is last wins. You're trying to use walrus again. Yep. Yeah, if you do the walrus here, what it'll do is it'll change it, and then it won't be. That's why we did it up here, to set the default, right? So that's the difference. This is a kind of a good thing. This is also the first time. I mean, I'm lumping a whole bunch of stuff together here. I really don't care. At some point, I would teach each one of these principles, including if, on its own. But if is like the very first thing we're going to learn after the other stuff, so we might as well. I do think it's important that we learn how to get the basic input from the user pretty quickly. And reading arguments and reading from the environment are the two main ways to do that. And because we learn those things in Bash the first couple of weeks, it's important that we do them kind of in the same order. Unfortunately, that means learning about the if construct. So what is going on here? Let me talk about this. This is very specific to Go. I've never seen another language do this. If anybody knows of another language that does this, please let me know. This semicolon is a way of saying, so everything before the semicolon is code that executes within the scope of this little if block, right? A block is everything between the curly brackets. And what it allows is that's why there's a walrus operator here, because this n, by the way, see how tiny it is? Go, the idiomatic way to write Go is to use names that are sort of equivalent in size to the scope that they're being used. So in this case, we have an n that's small, and that's because we just want it temporarily to get a really quick value, see if it exists. If it does exist and it's got a length greater than 0, which is faster than checking for an empty string, by the way. I did some research on that. It's always faster to check the length of the string versus, and a string, of course, is one of these guys, versus, I used to do equals empty string, which is Python users might do that, but it turns out that checking the length is actually faster. So you check the length of the string and see if it's greater than 0. That means there's something in there. And if it is greater than 0, that means we have something. So we go ahead and we override the default value, right? Now, this might seem wasteful, and you might want to not even assign this unless there's a setting, right? But this assignment takes place at compilation time, so it doesn't cost us anything. In this particular case, it doesn't cost us anything because this gets defined. When this main program runs. Now, if you wanted to, you could put it up here, and then it would happen when the program runs, but it doesn't happen. It's efficient. It's fine. So putting the default value first and then overriding it if there's something else available is not wasteful as it might seem. So we haven't gotten into if logic yet, but we will. All right. So what has this done? This has demonstrated how to read from an argument. So by the way, if I do this, someone, it will actually do someone, even if the user is only used if there's no argument, right? And it's never ever going to use friend. The only time it would use friend is if there was no environment variable. So like, let's do user 1, just to give you a sense. So like if you're on a system that doesn't have a user environment variable, you would get friend, right? Because it doesn't exist. All right. So that's what's going on here. Look up, change this back to the user. So the for instance is always going to be RWX Rob, and that gets us back to where we were. So now it's time to start writing test code, right? Well, how do we write test code? And we can't really test our code because it's not really, well, I don't know. Let's do if statements first. Let's do bridgekeeper next. Or should we do walrus? I'm trying to decide which one we should do next. All right, so we have hi and then we have hello. How much time we got? We started at 1:30, 2:30, so we almost got. We're gonna go till when? How long are we going? I need to check. 3:30. Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. It's gonna be tight. I might have to move this one back to 4. All right. Yeah. Okay. Can we do lead code? No. Why would we do lead code? We're doing the beginner boost. I mean, we're doing learning. This is, structured content, believe it or not. So hi is done. So what did we learn from hi? We learned how to set variables. We learned how to grab stuff out of the environment. We learned, if we wanted to, we could have set the variable here and had it be available for the whole program. But this is something else we did before. What if we wanted to do this instead? This will work, right? But why doesn't it work? Because you can't define it this way. You can't use a walrus operator outside of a block. A block is a thing that's got curly brackets. But that will work. So, and that will work no matter where we are. So you can put it here. You can put it down here. It doesn't matter because any program has to have a main. No, I'm going to wait on the rant. The lead code rant. So, by the way, this also works here as well. We already covered that another week. So this has been kind of a review. All right. So now let's get into the next constructs. And I'm going to avoid importing and testing and all of that stuff until a lot later. Let's do more with the if statement. Okay. So we're going to do the bridgekeeper program to kind of keep in line with what we did for this year in the beginner boost. Okay. So, we're not talking about lead code right now. Please don't corrupt my video with stuff that's not related to the topic. Okay. Obviously normally I don't mind that, but when I'm making videos that are going to get saved for the next year and a half, I don't want to distract people. Thank you. Please keep your questions and comments on topic. All right, so let's do this. So let's do the Bridgekeeper. So pause the video right now and go watch MoneyPython Bridgekeeper, the program for Bridgekeeper. Okay. Answer me these questions 3, error the other side. You see, and the reason we're doing it in Bridgekeeper right now is because we did the same thing in Shell. And so I'm trying to keep the correlation direct so you can see how to do it in Bash or Shell and how to do it in Go. And you'll learn the same concepts along the way. That's the idea of polyglot programming. So if you want to do the two in tandem, you can. And eventually they're going to be right there next to each other. All right. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to make another project. So how do we do that? Make directory bridge, right? Should we call it bridge or bridgekeeper? Let's just call it bridge. What should we call it? Bridgekeeper? Let's call it bridgekeeper. Bridgekeeper. I mean, who cares? It's long, but so inside of Bridgekeeper, we're going to go in here and let's make a new project. Here we go. Go mod init, github.com, rvx. I don't even remember where I am. Here we go. Go mod init. Yours is going to be smaller. GitHub.com, rvx rob, SKILSTAK, docs, boost, learn go, Bridgekeeper. All right. And check my go mod file out and see what's going on. The bridge keeps so. All right. So if you watch the program, so we're going to start a new program, main.go. These are all standalone programs. We haven't done packages, which I realize kind of, if you can't tell, I'm kind of redoing 1 and 2 because weeks 1 and 2 we got really into the weeds really fast, and I realized I didn't teach you the basic constructs before we did that. So We're going back to this. We're just making standalone programs for now. Um, so what is the first thing that happens in Bridgekeeper, right? And actually, you can. It's funny because we can actually go into the 2023 Beginner Boost, and we have a program that's already written in Shell, right? And I can steal it. I'm going to steal it. So the reason I'm doing it this way is I want to cover the same content at the same time, so you can compare, right? One time we did Python as well, but and JavaScript as well. At the end of the day, at the end of the next year, if not earlier, I want to have exactly the same content available in all 4 of those languages, so that you can do it in each of the languages and understand why, and bring those constructs over. So what am I doing here? Right now, I have a little tool called YYY. It's a filter, and what that does is that yanks code, and I can bang PPP. These are filters that I wrote. Learn how to write those in Shell. We're going to do that. And it brings in my stuff. Okay, so if you already know Bash, you know that we have this idea of a string here, right? Well, what about these yellow and clear and stuff? Well, let's change this to FMT printf. We'll change to println, and obviously we're going to have some problems here, right? Because that stuff is just not included. What's going on here? What am I missing? What am I missing? Let's read these questions through println. All right, so we're going to go install. Now we can type Bridgekeeper, and oh my God, it doesn't do the escaping, right? Well, you haven't learned about that yet, so we're not going to cover it. We will eventually. I promise you. We will do it. Right now, we just want it without the color. Okay. Okay, so save. Go install. So it's Bridgekeeper. Okay, there. It's printing, right? All right, so what else did we do here? We printed it, and then we said, print what is your name? Okay, well, let's go do that. Change. I'm going to change everything up to the next end quote. Change T double quote. What is your name? All right. We got that. What is your name? Right. And then we're reading input. We'll come back to that. What is your quest? Let's do that. What is your quest? And we have the whole thing here, the if statement. We'll get to that. And we're not going to play again. And that's it. Okay, and then we need, what are these other ones? What is the capital of Assyria? What is the capital of Assyria? And then we have, what is your favorite color? What is your favorite color? Spelled like English. Couleur. C'est en français, ça. What is the airspeed of an unladen swallow? All right. What is changed to the question mark? The airspeed. Is that 2 words? Yeah. Velocity of an unladen swallow. How do you know about swallows? Well, you need to know these things when you're king, you know? How do you know so much about swallows? And if you're wondering why I'm grabbing it from the other project, it's on purpose. Change, well, to know these things when you're king, you know. Well, as a king, yeah, I think that's how you said it. Anyway, not everybody gets all of those questions, do they? The only one watching on YouTube? No, there's a lot of people watching. We're streaming all over. So they just, and most people come back and watch the videos anyway. So what is the favorite code? What is your rate of speed of less of an unlated swallow? How do you know so much about swallows? Okay, so now we have some fun stuff we have to do. Wait, what? Oh, we don't need the \n because it's redundant because we already have a line return. That's what the ln means. So the first thing to know is the difference between Go and Bash is that you have a println and just a print. And you have a printf too. So there's a lot of prints you got. And so we can run this bridge keeper. Oopsie. Keeper. What is your name? What is it? So it keeps saying, it says them all, right? So let's talk about the if statement. And if we go back to their other project, we have this big, huge case statement. Now, in order to arrive at the case statement, we first did a bunch of if and else if stuff. Okay, so let's actually do that. And this is called procedural programming, logical flow, whatever you want to call it. Answer me these questions 3. Everybody gets that. What is your name? Everybody gets that. What is your quest? Everybody gets that. Oh wait, we need to prompt them for the name. We need to get the name, right? How do we get the name? What is your name? We need something to do. Read the name, right? What is your quest? Read the quest. What is the capital of Assyria? And that depends. All right, so it says here, read the name. How do you read the name, right? Well, this is where things get kind of hairy, and this is why, languages have a specific purpose. They're sometimes better at doing things than others. Doing something as simple as reading a line of text from Go is actually pretty hard. And if you go to Ask ChatGPT, how do I prompt the user to enter input in Golang? And you'll see, it actually will probably get this right because it's a pretty common thing to ask. But I want to repeat the steps that you would do so you can go see those things. So here we go. So there's a thing called scanln, which also kind of harkens back to C code, if those of you who've done scanning. Now, there's kind of a problem with scanln, though. So in this example, we use print function to display the prompt message, blah. Scanln function to read the user's input from the standard input terminal and store an input variable. Finally, use printf function to blah, blah, blah. The problem here is we start needing to get, you see how it grabbed a string. There's also no limitation on how much it's going to read. So let's actually do what it says. Okay, so let's say, we'll separate these things out and we'll say var name is a string. We talked about how we're declaring and stuff. We talked about that earlier a few weeks ago, so I'm not going to repeat that because I already did it. But so let's do that. So let's say fmt.scanln will give us one name. Now, the reason I don't like teaching this one first is because this is the first time we've had to use a pointer dereference. So what this says is we're passing in a reference to this name. If we put name there, we're not putting the actual, if we put name in there, it would actually pass whatever the value was, which is empty, right? But if we put a pointer to it, and as soon as we deal with pointers, people roll their eyes and they go, oh my God, I don't want any pointers. The first thing you need to know is that pointers in Go are very, very simple compared to C. They're very similar, but they're also a lot more intuitive. So this means scanln takes a reference, a pointer, we'll call it a reference, to the name variable. And that means whatever it's going to do it to the name variable that got passed in by reference. So that, the result inside of this will actually be changed. Okay. But some people may not want to do it that way. They might want to read one line of standard input. You remember read? You remember the read line that we saw? So they're like, well, what's the equivalent of reading one line of standard input? This is like reading one line of standard input, right? And that's unfortunately a lot harder. You have to actually open the standard input and read a line and then stop with that line. You have to write a separate function for that. So there is the scanln. If you read the doc about it, it returns some stuff that you don't care about. And scanln is similar to scan, but stop scanning, add a new line, and after the final item, there must be a new line or end of file. All right. Now, one of the things that worries me about telling people to use scanln, and I usually don't teach it this way, is because, I don't know how safe this is. What if somebody dumped a whole bunch of data on there? Would it cause your program to crash? So this scans scan OS. So this is it. Reads from the standard input. It returns the number of items successfully scanned. What's new as form? And one item is the verb. Blah blah blah. And here's read. So scan reads a string. I normally would not consider this safe. So I have a hard time teaching it that way, but I guess it's safe for Go. And so we'll go ahead and keep that in there for today. Well, if somebody wants to test this, you should dump like a ton of data into it, right? It's passed by reference, yeah. But this in a string is normally not passed by reference. And we haven't talked about maps and slices yet, but when we do, those are always passed by reference. But but when you're doing it with a string or an integer, you have to do it. You have to take a reference, which is weird because, in C, you have to do the same, you have to take a reference to everything. So in this case, we're passing by reference. And that's going to blow people away, but whatever. So you could say, here's the case for logging, right? We could say log printf println you entered name and plus name. All right, so let's do that. Bridge keeper. What is your name? Rob. You enter name. Now see, when you log it, how it puts the date on there. That's kind of nice. It shows you it's different. So that did it. It did it. It got the right thing, yeah? It also got rid of the line return at the end, which you normally would have to do on your own. So that looks like a better way to do it. I don't do that a lot, but that is totally fine. In this case, we're reading one value. But how do we make it so that it prints it on the same line? Well, let's take out the ln here. Let's do that, shall we? Go run, may not go. Ruin. Go run. What is your name? Say Rob. Put it on the same line. You entered Rob. Okay, so we're getting there. All right. And what is your question? We're going to leave these out. Let's do the if statements, and then we'll do color. Okay. So the if statements. What is your request? We could do these three here. Right. Let's do. I mean, you can put the variables down by it if you want, or you can put them at the beginning. It's up to you. It's whatever you want to do. Quest, and then we're going to do you entered quest. Put quest here. Run bridge keeper. I don't want to compile it. Too much work. Main.go. Rob. To seek the grail. Eke the grail. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Oh, look at that. That's why I don't use it. That is weird. Did you see what it did? It didn't read it. That is so weird. That's why I don't use this. And apparently it doesn't. That is weird. It's supposed to count the enter as a new line, yeah. This is why I don't use this. That was ChatGPT's first answer, so I thought I'd give it a try. Yeah, you want to read a line of text. Yeah. This is actually why I stopped teaching Go to beginners, because reading a single line of text is actually requires quite a bit of work, and you have to teach functions and everything. What happened there? I know. Interesting, right? I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I can, well, I honestly don't know what just happened. Let's go run it again. Let's actually install it this time. Maybe that'll fix it. Bridgekeeper, Rob, what is your quest? The Grail. That is so freaking weird. You entered 2. Yeah, I think LSeq only grabs to the first space. Uh-huh. It's the first bash, yeah. Which is why I don't want to use it. It's not reading up to the first line return. No. So ChatGPT is freaking wrong again. Okay, but I thought it was worth a try. Let's read about it. So it says, it's limited to scan, but stop scanning at a new line, and after the final item, there must be a new line or an end of file. Do we have to flush streams? I don't know. To me, it looks broken to me, honestly. I've never actually used this in any code. I don't use Scanl. I use the other method, which is reading from the text scanner, and that is well documented as well. But it requires a function, and I wanted to see if I could get around it today. The doc for scan. Yeah, we could go look at that. Here we go. Scans text read from standard input, storing successive spaces. Successive space separated values into successive arguments. Yeah, that's why we don't want it, because it's putting each word into a separate argument. You should ask it. We should definitely ask it about an African versus European swallow. Yeah, I don't like ScanLN. So the reason for this is because it's trying to grab just one word, right? But stop scanning at a new line, and after, yeah, and after. So again, if you have a single word, then great, right? Otherwise, don't use it. Yeah, space separated arguments. So ScanLN is the wrong way to do this. And so we're going to use the right way, which is to make a scanner. And I have a text. Let's ask ChatGPT a different question. How do I read one line of text in Golang? We're going to use, the way you do this is you make a scanner, and then you execute the scanner once, and then you copy out the .txt value. But this is very hard for beginners to do. So this is another way to do it, but I don't like this way because, yeah. God, they're so dumb. Why would it tell them to do this? This is so bad. This only gets a carriage. This doesn't take into effect carriage return, line return. It only looks for. It assumes all lines have a line return at the end, which is not valid. No, that is not the way to do it. You want to use a text scanner because it sees all types of line returns for different operating systems. This is really interesting. I've been doing these searches on purpose because I want to recreate what you're going to try to do trying to write this stuff. And all lines end in either a line return, a carriage return, and a line return, or both. And some lines end in line return only, like really old Macs and stuff. So in Go, when you use text scanner versus a reader, you know, I mean, I'm sure this will work. But I don't know. I want to teach it the way. Yeah. Go ahead. Scan is only for one word inputs. Yeah, and if somebody enters more than one word, you're screwed. We print the editor text using. Yeah, the problem is it doesn't check to see whether it was one word or not. So the standard way is to. I personally, I think you should use a text scanner. And I that's a lot more. We're gonna use a scanner. See if ChatGPT, if I give it a hint, see if it'll give us the right code. And I think you should use ChatGPT. I really do. I think it will help you ask the right questions. It's not always going to be really dependent, but it's generally going to filter out a bunch of bad stuff from Stack Exchange and stuff like that. Not always, but I was kind of ambivalent when it came to ChatGPT. But these days, it's usually good to help refresh your memory and help you continue to ask the right questions. You should never trust it implicitly. That's stupid. But yeah, there is term.readline. Yeah, but that is not supported by everybody. So this is the standard way that I use to do it. So you make a scanner. By the way, this is also how you would iterate over the lines of a file. So this is worth learning. The problem is there's a lot going on here, right? So it's hard for beginners to learn this who don't know about this. This is the equivalent of the read command in Bash or Shell. So you make a scanner. That's what this is. It makes a new one. It's buffered, so it's also safe, so it can't be overblown. And you pass it a reference to the standard input so that that's what it's going to scan. It could be scanning from a file or anything. And then you print out your line, and then you scan. You call scan one time, and what that does is that it does a scan up until the first end of line, and the end of line is different depending on any computer you're on. It's not just \n, which we saw on the read string, which is not completely accurate. Another thing that's really great about this is that I believe it actually also truncates the end of line, and the read string does not do that. Another reason not to use that method. So this is the proper method to read a line. And it's better that you learn this than you learn all the other stuff. Because you're gonna want to read from it multiple times. Right. So let's go ahead and put that code in here. We're going to put that scanner in here. And we're going to get rid of this here. And we're going to leave the scanner here. And we're going to leave this out. So, and we don't need this right now. So we don't need to call scan until we have something ready to scan. So we can get this here. We can say, actually we can even get rid of some of this code here. We can say this, we can say name, we can say scanner.scan. That activates it, and that automatically puts into the temporary variable this scanner.text. Okay, and I believe it truncates it as well. So that means if it was carriage return, line return, it'll not be there. If it's just line return, it won't be there. But the other thing, that read string thing doesn't do that, which means change them both. We just have to call the scanner again, just to iterate to the next line. So we can have this be quest, and then it changes the value of the text. And so let's try that. So go run bridge keep main.go. Rub. What is your quest? To seek the Grail. And you have entered to seek the Grail. What is the capital of Assyria? Okay. It doesn't have to be text. No. No, it doesn't. No video. What do you mean no video? It's now back? Why? On YouTube? Why would the stream F for any reason? I don't have any bitrate loss showing up right now. That's very weird. Okay. All right. Sorry, everybody. All right. Thank you, everybody. So that is the proper way to read lines, and you can use those other methods if you want. This is the way I would like to suggest that you do it. The reason, number one, is it's buffered. Number two, it truncates the line. It gets rid of the white space at the end of the line for you automatically. Number three, it's cross-platform, which means it works on Windows and Mac and everything. They all end their lines differently. Every other method that ChatGPT recommended does not do that, or only reads one thing. I thought it would be worth trying, but this is the right way to do it. This is the way I've been doing it for years, since 2013. And quest equals scan. Okay. And by the way, this method also works with other files. So we haven't done it yet, but you can read all the responses if you wanted to. You can read all the responses from a file if you change this value right here to be an actual open file, as opposed to anything that implements io.reader, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so now back to our if statements. Okay, so how much time we got? We got some time. So back to our if statements. Yeah. Buffalo new reader? No, I don't think so. No, don't use read string. No, it does not work in all platforms. No, it doesn't. No, read string does not work in all platforms because it doesn't truncate them all the same way. I'm not convinced of that. Plus, yeah, I don't use read string. Yeah, because that recommendation is wrong. Yeah, I'm going to prove it. So, because people are asking, go doc reader dot, unless they say, we have been using the scanner to scan lines in Go for 10, 15 years, 10, 12 years, something like that. This does not look suitable to me. Let me see if we can go here first. Bridgekeeper. Have to be in a project before I can get the docs on it. Go doc reader dot read string. Is there no reader in here? I don't think I have a reader in here. What's it? io.reader? Reader. I don't know where read string is. I don't know which packages it's in. Yeah, we got to read the docs on it. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's buff.io. Okay. It's just a different buff.io. Scanline, Scanneroon. See, these are the ones I use the most. I love the scanners. The scanners are really awesome. Read bytes. Read string up to the delimiter. To the first occurrence of the delimiter input. Returning a string containing the data up to and including the delimiter. Okay, this is the point I'm trying to tell you. It does not. It includes the delimiter and it does not truncate it, which means you need to do your own truncation, which is that scan lines does that automatically. So this is not a solution. Do not use read string. No, because you'd have to go. No, just don't use it. It's stupid. I can't believe ChatGPT is even recommending it. Look, scan lines is the default. If you start a new scanner, scan lines is the default, so you don't even have to initialize it. And split the function of the scanner returns each line stripped of any trailing end of line marker. The returning line may be empty. The end of line marker is one of an optional character return followed by one or more mandatory new line characters. In a regular expression notation, it would be this. The last non-empty line of input will be returned. That is cross-platform. That other thing, read string, is not. Yeah, and you have to do your own. You have to clean up the end of the string yourself. It's totally stupid. Don't do it. There, I'm done talking about it. I'm a little pissed off that ChatGPT is recommending such bad information. Um, uh, okay, yeah. All right, that's fine. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm here. Okay, I'm mad at the recommendations that are this. This has been the standard way to read a line or lines from a profile forever. And the other thing too is that this method of reading a line also translates into reading multiple lines from a different file when you're doing reads and while loops and stuff like that, which we're going to be doing later. So just do buff.io new scanner and pass that stud in. The end. You'll be happy. Okay, so let's go back to our if statements though now. So let's get back on if statements. So who gets the capital of Assyria, right? Robin gets that question, right? Who gets the favorite color question? All right. So the first way we're going to do this is with if statements, and then we're going to use the switch statement, which is the equivalent of the bash case statement or the shell case statement. Okay. So we're going to first do ifs. So we're going to say if what? If the name equals, and we use two equal signs there. Okay. Robin. And we're gonna do exactly like we did in the other end shell. We're gonna do it very, very specific, and then we're gonna loosen it up. All right. So if it's Robin, then do this. If name, we're also gonna see why this is wrong or less efficient. I'm doing it kind of wrong on purpose because this is how a beginner would do it. If the name equals Arthur, Lancelot. It's actually Lancelot. Or if I remember, Lancelot or I'm gonna come back to this one. I'll come back. There's some good things we can learn there that I want to show you. If name equals, please avoid the temptation to optimize the code too early for everybody. You're going to confuse them. I know everybody watching this is going to want to show how cool they are and flex about me writing inefficient code, but I'm doing it on purpose because I want to show you how a beginner would come at this. They would come at this and they would say, okay, if it's Robin, then do this. If it's Lancelot, do this. There's an obvious problem here, right? Arthur. All right. So if it's Arthur, all right, let's just test this code and see if it works. Is the king of okay, so here we go. So then we do go run main. Did I say Robin? No. What is your name, Robin? What is your quest? You entered Robin to seek the Grail. What is the capital of Assyria? Okay, that worked. What is your name? Lancelot. What is your quest? To seek? I seek the Grail. What is your favorite color? Okay, good. That's working. What is your name? Arthur, King of the Britons. To seek the Grail. Okay, so that worked. Brave Sir Robin. Yes. So, and we talked about why we use these silly things and these little examples because it's mnemonic. It's a mnemonic device. You'll remember it better. So please make sure you watch the entire Bridgekeeper. You stop the video and watch it if you haven't done it yet. It's really funny, and we're referring to it. This has become something of a tradition at SKILSTAK that I started in 2013. Because we did it in Python, and so we made all of our namesakes Python, which is the namesake for the Python language, not a snake. As a lot of people don't know that. Anyway, instead of foobar, for example, all the Python examples have spam and eggs, which is also a reference to MoneyPython. If you don't know what MoneyPython is, where have you been living? Go watch it like today. All right, so I had the killer bunny here somewhere. Where is he? I don't know. Anyway, it'll be fun. And then of course we'll do Python at some point. We'll learn Python, and all this stuff will be relevant. We have a problem though, right? So what's the problem with the logic? Pause the video and see if you can tell. What is the problem with the logic? Right? This stuff here is running unnecessarily, right? So print, okay, print, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we don't need to check for Lancelot if it was Robin. It's mutually exclusive is the word. So you can do this, which is extremely not Go. This is extremely bad Go, and it is not idiomatic to do this. So yeah, unexpected statement else. It probably wants it on the same line here. Yeah. There we go. So, this is JavaScript does the same thing. This is extremely bad Go code, though, right? So we're gonna run this, and this will work, but it's extremely bad to write Go like this. And I'm telling you the idiomatic way to write Go, as well as what will work, right? What is your quest? Seek the Grail. You entered to seek the Grail. Okay, it did not do anything else, right? Okay, so actually, let me do it right. So let's run Lancelot. Blah, blah, blah. Favorite color. Okay. So as you can see, it's still doing the same thing it was doing before. It's just not redundantly running the if statement again. It's only running the if statement once. And we do that in the bash program too. Okay, so now let's get all the way to the pretty version of this. All right. And the pretty version is this. Switch name, right? And we have a block. And we change this to be case. Case Robin, colon. And then this becomes case Lancelot, colon. And then we have case Arthur. And this is exactly the same, almost, as the case statement from Shell. Okay. Fun fact, Python does not have a switch or a case. I think they added it in 3.2. Somebody told me they finally added it. Thank God. So this makes your code a lot a lot easier to read and stuff. Now, I'm really struggling here to not go geek out on the switch statement in Go. The switch keyword, the switch statement in Go is, I'll just say this, it's one of the most powerful, amazing things that has ever been implemented. And it's not just, the switch statement is used for many, many, many things besides just switching on string values. Okay. And so, and in the sense of like, remember that whole lowercase thing we were doing with bash? Well, I mean, the first take on this is to do this, right? If you wanted to allow somebody to say Robin or Rob, you can do the comma. That is equivalent. They added match case in 3.10 and Go, and Python finally. That they kind of gave in. It's kind of funny if you know them. I mean, they've been saying you don't need that. You're going to be a total noob if you're asking that question. They've said that for years, and now they're like they added it quietly. so there it goes. It went ahead and we added that. And so that is the simple version. Now, obviously, we don't want to have to do this, right? We don't have to do Rob and Rob. This is what I mean. That's annoying, right? Right. So here's one of those times where we can use the test. All right. So you remember how we can actually do some fancy stuff here. This is really cool. We can say value equals, right? And we could say strings dot to lower, I think it is. I don't remember. All right. I think did I get it right? I might have this wrong. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. No, I think we can just do this instead. Can we do that? We can't do that? Let's see. Syntax error. Okay, there we go. It's just strings too lower. Sorry. So now we can do this. Now we can do Robin. Right? You can do Lancelot. And when we did the bash thing, we did that to show. So, wait, what? How do I still have an error? Oh, I got rid of the colon. All right, so go run main. Robin to seek the Grail. What was the capital zero? Okay, so it did it, right? When to use the switch and when to use this if else. Um, that's a stylistic issue. They are exactly the same. I honestly, I have never seen else if in the wild ever. If you look through, I would go so far as to say is that it's probably against idiomatic Go standards, and you can read Go Essentials about that. If you want to read, by the way, if you want to dive into Go and read all about it, Artibixrob / awesome dash Go. At the very beginning of that, I'll just put a shout out for this again. GitHub.com Artibixrob / awesome Go. I've made a collection of my favorite Go modules here, including mine, and how I think you should learn to read Go. How to write Go code, effective Go. These these are all Go review comments. These things will help answer the questions about idiomatic Go, maybe relearning Go. You have to buy. I have that one right. These are, so if you, especially if you already got coding experience, then there's no use to break and switch now. In fact, I'm glad you asked that question because it's worth mentioning. The authors of Go decided to make switch behave like most people want it to behave, to have an inferred break. There's in switch, and if you've done switch and I don't know how Python chose to implement it. I honestly don't know. This happened since the time I used it. But in C, you have to have a break here. And so you have this unnecessary break all the time. So there is an implied break in Go. And if you actually want it to behave like C, you have to tell it that. You have to do, was it follow through or fall whatever? Fall through. Yeah. So fall through is a keyword, and that tells it to behave like C wanted. So those of you who know C who's coming to Go, you have to tell it you want to do that. And the idea behind this, by the way, to the rest is to make it less like if else, chains and more like the thing is cool about that is you can have certain things that match, and then it can fall through and it can keep doing it and it can kind of filter it out. But it's not a very common idiom to code that way. It's more common to just have a thing here, right? And we'll see later that you can actually use switch without a value at all, and you can you can group your conditions in this way if it makes sense to do that. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense at all to do that. A lot of security issues because of the explicit break. Yeah, I imagine. I did not know that, but I can imagine. Case values need to be constants. No. Yes. I don't think they can be variables. I don't think. Let's try. I've never done that. Let's say it equals. I don't know. That's a good question. I've never done that. Brave Sir Robin. Writing shellcode. Damn. Security issue because of a missing break. Really? Did not know that. Safer defaults, yeah. Yeah, I would beat him if it could be variables, but yeah. Robin. Sheesh. Yeah. I guess you can. Very cool. Yeah. It doesn't check a set and it doesn't have any pattern matching, right? If you want to do pattern matching and stuff like that, then you would probably want to do. It also doesn't implicitly pass the value, so you'd have to, but you can use it to do code evaluation, which I'll show you that in a little bit later. But if you want to do a regular expression match, for example, which is a thing, right? Let's actually do that. You can still do that. So you could say strings dot starts with, or I think it has prefix name. I'm looking this up. I don't remember. Rob. Okay. I mean, when we do this in shell, so yeah. See, this is a little bit harder, right? So now we're like explicitly saying this, yeah. and now we have to put name back in here. So it's kind of like an if-else statement at that point, right? But I'm kind of trying to be consistent with what we did with bash. So you see this there. But I guess the takeaway from that is that you can use a switch statement to just use code evaluation and organize it that way if you want to. That obviously could be a bunch of if statements, you know. What are we building? We're doing Learn and Go week 3. We're just doing a little fun project that recreates the bridge keeper interaction so we can learn if statements and switches and stuff. Now, obviously, there's still a big problem here, right? We haven't done regular expressions. We had an hour-long tangent today in the bash coding because we found out that some case insensitivity in a regular expression match is not supported in the regular expressions in bash, which is a big deal to me. Now, there are ways around it, like lowercasing the string and then comparing that, which is what we can do here as well. So I want to demonstrate those two methods right now. Obviously, Robin is not going to be enough. We don't want it to just have a prefix of Rob. We want it to be, but I'm going to leave that in there. So we want it to be like Rob. We want it to be uppercase or lowercase. And by the way, this has to be uppercase, right? If it's lowercase, it doesn't work, right? And if I want it to have it be the other way, I have to do something like this: strings dot to lower. Right, and things get kind of messy here at this point, right? At that point, this is still more efficient. To do that. And let's actually run that. So Rob, and then we get a Syria. Oh, we didn't. That's interesting. What the hell? What did I do wrong? All right, let's see. What did I do wrong? Oh, derp. I'm a derp. There we go. All right, so Robin, and yeah, so that's working now, right? That is probably fine. Let's use Arthur as an example. Actually, no. Let's use Lancelot because, well, no. One last thing. So everybody gets what's your favorite color except for Arthur and except for things. So we need to change that. So there's one last thing to do is default. And the default is everybody. So we can put what is your favorite color as a default value. And now Lancelot and everybody else gets it. You know what I mean? I'm saving there. Okay, so now everybody gets default color. Go around. Is your name Robin? Okay, let's do. What's your name? Blah. Blah. Oh, favorite color. So everybody gets it, no matter what your name is. Okay. All right. So I did that really fast. If you need to pause, that's fine. And so let's go here. We're gonna go ahead and do Arthur here. And it says we've got Arthur here, and we're gonna need to do more than Arthur. So what if he says a king, your king, or king of the Britons, or something like that? Let's pretend there's lots of things you could say besides Arthur, right? In this case, it would be wrong because it's lowercase already. So we need a regular expression here. If you don't know what regular expressions are, we covered them in the shell scripting thing. You should kind of know what they are already. So we're going to cover regular expressions in the last bit of time that we have here. We are going to go until 3. What time are we going till? How long are we going? We're almost done. All right. So, I guess we could wait on regular expressions till next week. Should we do that? Or do you guys want to jump in? Let's do or. All right. So let's do or, and then we'll call it, and then I'll do regular expressions at the beginning of next week. All right. So is it name or, okay. Tell me why this is wrong. People do this all the time. And I want you to tell me why it's wrong. Now, in Python, by the way, you will not get an error on that. That is a valid statement in Python. So the short answer is the 2 bars is a logical OR, and 2 ampersands or 2, and signs are logical AND. So that both the conditions have to be true. This is one of the most, this is one of the most common mistakes I've ever seen. I've seen it in Python. I've seen it in Perl. I've seen it in JavaScript. I see it all the time, and it gets out there. It gets deployed without getting caught. And the problem, I was particularly working with beginners, and so I'm going to spend some time, and this is going to be the last thing I'm going to say about this. It absolutely works in Python. Absolutely. Did they get rid of it? Doesn't work in Python anymore? Huh. Are you absolutely sure about that? We already did the lowercase thing. We're not going to repeat that. We've already covered that. So that is one thing we can do. Yes, but okay, fine. If you want something more, Arthur, King of the Britons. I'm trying to make an example that did I spell that wrong? The Britons. Oh, whoops. Britons. All right. So, there we go. Yep. I know I am. I'm doing it on purpose. Okay. So, yeah. All right. Why does there need to be another name there? So I'm deliberately doing what I've seen dozens of beginners do this, because this is how we speak. And I'm not tell all the people that are, just pay attention if you're a beginner, okay? If you're a beginner, it makes sense to you because you're like, well, if your name's Arthur or Arthur King of the Britons, then do it. Because that's what you would say. That's what a human being would say. But computers need to be more precise. And they need, if the name was Arthur or the name is Arthur King of the Britons, right? See, the answer, of course, is to put the name, oh, damn, I screwed up, is to put the name here, right? Name equals, and we're using double equal signs instead of single equal sign because the single equal sign is assignment. We talked about that last week. 2 is equality, all right? So that means that this is equal to, so this or that, right? And that will compile and that will work. Now, and then there's operator precedence and all of that jazz. And short circuit logic and everything. We're not going to cover any of that yet. Okay, we'll do that at some point, and you can do that. You can sort of do that. It's more valuable in an interpretive language, but not here. But so what I'm trying to say here is that, you know what? I'm going to prove it. I'm going to do it. Okay, so Python. So if I say name equals Rob. I say name equals Rob, right? It's true, right? But watch this. Rob is Rob, right? But if I force it to be a Boolean, I think it's capital B. If I force the string Rob to be a Boolean, Boolean is not defined. Did you mean Boolean? Yes. Thank you. It's true. And so this is what I'm trying to say. So if you evaluate a Boolean, which causes it to be evaluated as a condition, right? And you say name equals Rob, you'll get a true, right? And if you say name equals Rob or Rob, and this the thing is insidious about this is that because Python tries to be conversational with the or instead of the double bar, you see people do this. This is true. Okay, now check this out though. This is where the problem comes, and this is a bad problem. This is the most insidious, horrible problem ever. In Python, and it happens not just in Python, but it happens in JavaScript. It happens in TypeScript. It happens in any interpreted language that does not have strict types. Watch this. What just happened? What is the value of name? This is so important that you get this, because this is not a syntax error. Now, you will not make this error that I just did. You cannot make this error in Go. It's impossible, because Go uses strict type checking. Go uses strict type checking, but Python does not. JavaScript does not. Perl does not. Ruby does not. So and even though this is a Go, we're talking about Go, and Go doesn't have this problem. It's at this point in the conversation, you have to understand this. This kind of code, this code, if I've seen code written like this incorrectly, that evaluated to true, and when this code will never be false. It will never ever be false, because the string is being evaluated in a Boolean context, which means, in this case, Python is trying to help us out by saying, well, if it's a string and I'm using it in a string and a Boolean context, what is the Boolean value? And the thing is even crazier. Watch this. So you can make the value even false, right? And it's still true. Because what's the Boolean value of false? The Boolean value of false is false, but the Boolean value of false as a string is true. How about zero? What's the Boolean of a zero? This freaks out shell programmers all the time. What's the Boolean of a zero? False. What's the Boolean of a one? True. Right. What's the Boolean of a one string? True. What's the Boolean of a zero string? True. There is no such thing as falsity values. No. Yeah. So, and the value of an empty string. Oh God, this is, yeah. The value of an empty string I think is true. No, it's false. Okay. All right. So if you're wondering why we just did that crazy thing in Python, it's because I want you to understand one thing. Strict typing is your friend. All right. Strict typing is your friend, and Go has built-in strict typing by default. Now, there's the any interface, the untyped interface. We'll talk about that. That loosens up the strict typing a little bit to make it easy to get stuff done. But at the end of the day, you can't write this code, this false condition in Go. It's impossible. So that's what I want to leave you with. Yeah, in Python, you got to be way more careful. The empty string is true. The empty string is true in Ruby. Damn. And, this is the thing. And then, of course, shell, at the exit code for a shell script that fails, or any function that fails, is what? 1. So you could consider that false, right? It's really confusing. But always scary coming from a bash. Yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. So when you go into this, the takeaway here is that all languages deal with falsy types and conditions differently, and it's super important that you understand the idiosyncrasies of the language that you're using. And the reason that strictly typed languages, and that includes Go, Rust, TypeScript, etc., the reason that they are winning in popularity, in my opinion, is because over the last 10 years or so, everybody lost their minds, and they all started writing loosey-goosey interpreted, strict type, loose type scripts. And then all of a sudden, the enterprise backlash was, oh my God, everything's falling apart because we're making these horrible errors that could have been caught at, compile time. And so the whole world has rebounded, and they're like, oh my God, it's all about safety now. Just ask a Rust person about safety, right? So, it's about safety, and safety comes from having strict types. And I talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it over and over and over again. The reason that Go, and I am not exaggerating, is the #1 language for cloud native computing in 2020 on. Kubernetes was written in it, Helm was written in it, Prometheus was written in it, Docker was written in it. We're not talking about just some of it, all of it was written in it. And the reason being is because it was a Python-esque, it was a Java, Python, and C++ replacement that it brings the strict typing to it. And that's why it's so popular, because it's relatively fast to write. It looks a lot like Python. And it's not, right? It's not Python. It's like kind of Python and C smushed together. But it's quick to develop in versus Rust or other languages that take a lot longer to write in. So anyway, I think that's a good place to end. We are going to go ahead and go give somebody a raid right now. But that is the end of the stream for Go today. And stay tuned if you want to. I'm going to be, after this raid, I'm going to be taking off. I'll be back at the park on my bike, and if you want to see the new camera that I'm using, I'm actually talking to you right now on that. You're welcome to join me for that. So if you have any final questions, why don't you go ahead and give us those questions right now? Or you have comments you want to make, that's fine. While I am getting ready to do the raid. Thank you, Paul. You're welcome. So again, if you have any questions, let us know. We're going to go ahead and raid somebody randomly. Honestly, I don't know who's on right now. I'm gonna raid somebody from. You know what? Let's do a little bit of research here. Again, we're done with the stream, so if you're watching YouTube, you can just turn it off now. But I have to kind of leave this in here. So, Dazzle's what's he doing? Oh, I gotta go look see what he's doing. We need to find. I don't get a chance to raid science and technology and software streamers very much because I only do it once a week now. So, you're welcome. Okay, so let's go to Coffee Lava. I don't. Let's stick with people in software because I honestly I don't get a chance to raid this category very much. I do mostly outdoor IRL streaming these days. It's only on Saturdays that I do tech streaming when I'm not doing co-working. That is. Oh, Purple Elf's on. Oh, she's getting a raid. I love Purple Elf. She is fantastic. Yeah. Let him dare. Wait, who else is on? We're just gonna read Purple Elf and talk about TypeScript. You know what? Hey, you can ask the Purple Elf. Here's your homework for Purple Elf. Ask Purple Elf why TypeScript versus JavaScript. Why is strict typing important? See if she'll talk to you about that. She's probably doing something, so she might not want to talk to you. But if she does want to talk to you, this is a really great opportunity to ask the question from somebody who's a pro, right? And you can say, seriously, the description of why to use TypeScript versus JavaScript is right in line with what we just ended with. So please give them and I've got a lot of new emotes and emojis that you can like spam. Please don't flip people off when you raid them. I've had people doing that recently. Don't do that. I don't want it to get taken wrong. Use some of the other emotes, okay? Bye, everybody.